Hey, Squirrel Squad. Getting ready to take off to the library, but I thought we would have a look at the stuff at the very end to see if it's some things that we might want to know. Here's about the Little Women Hits Hollywood, which y'all probably know about, but I'll go through this anyway. It came out in 1933. The director was George Cukor. And I think Katharine Hepburn really liked him a lot. And it says, starring Katharine Hepburn as Jo, a huge star of the silver screen, won 4 Oscars during her career. Hepburn herself was a tomboy and a keen sports player and apparently did not own a dress or a skirt off screen. Cukor was nominated for an Oscar for Best Director. He didn't win, but his writers took away an Oscar for the category of Best Film Adaptation from a Book. So his writers. At the Venice Film Festival in 1934, Hepburn won the gold medal for Best Actress for her role as Jo March. Little Women was also nominated for Best Foreign Film, but the prize was taken by Man of Iran. In 1933, the film's producers won America's oldest film award, the Photoplay Medal of Honor. Never heard of that one. This straightforward retelling of Alcott's classic is believed by many film buffs to be the definitive film version of this book we just read. And Little Women another one came out in 1949. The director was Mervyn LeRoy, starring June Allison as Jo March. After appearing in Broadway musicals, Allison was discovered by MGM. She became a household name. In the 40s, in America, starred in numerous films. Elizabeth Taylor, and they have in parentheses, Dame Elizabeth Taylor, took the role of Amy. Taylor is considered to be one of Hollywood's all-time greatest stars. Nominated for several Oscars, Taylor won 2. Famous for her great beauty and for having had 7 husbands, including Richard Burton, whom she married and divorced twice. Interestingly, Victor Herman and Sarah Y. Mason, who won an Oscar for their 1933 adaptation, also wrote the screenplay for this 49 version. In the 1950 and the 49 version of Little Women was nominated for an Oscar for Best Cinematography and won the Academy Award for Art and Set Direction. Considered to be one of MGM's finest costume dramas of its time. And now here's one for 1994. The director was Gillian Armstrong, starred a top-rate cast with Winona Ryder as Jo March, Kirsten Dunst as the young Amy. Another actress plays the role of the older Amy, Claire Danes as Beth, Sharon Sarandon as Marmee, and Christian Bale as Laurie. Nominated for Oscars in 3 categories: Best Actress, Winona; Best Costume Design; Best Music. Unfortunately, it didn't take home any. The preceding versions were a hard act to follow, but the 94 version was hailed as delightful. Armstrong is credited with having breathed new life into the classic, and the cast members were acclaimed for their strong performances. And then it says Who's Who in Little Women, and it just tells about each character in the story. Like it's got Jo, Meg, Beth, Amy, Marmee, Mr. March, Hannah, Aunt March, Laurie, Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Brooke, Professor Bear. The Hummels were a poverty-stricken family suffering from ill health. They're the ones that I believe that Beth contracted her illness from. The Moffats were that rich family that befriends Meg. Amy Moffat has all the dresses and trinkets that Meg covets and blah, blah, blah. And the Vaughns are British friends of Laurie's. I don't think y'all want me to read all that stuff. I wish there would have been more about Hannah, who was the cook and whatnot. And then it has just some things to do. It's got, had I known, Michelle, it's got a thing in the back, a little glossary like in the back of some of the words. But anyway, let's see. Maybe I will read this. Maybe I will read this. Jo March, the main protagonist and the second eldest of the March sisters. Jo's a tomboy. The family, in her father's absence, takes on the role of the man in the house, passionate about her family's solidarity. She's willing to make sacrifices for the greater good. Most notably, she has all her beautiful hair cut off to raise money for Marmy's trip to Washington. You know, when her dad came back and he was sick and in the hospital up there. Jo has an adventurous spirit. Her greatest ambition is to become a successful writer. Also possesses a fiery temper, which she struggles to control, yet regrets at every outburst. Touchingly, she acts as quiet Beth's mentor, and in turn views her younger sister as her confidant. Meg March, the eldest of the March sisters, sweet and gentle Meg has a motherly influence on her siblings, who have great respect for her. She is the young, pretty woman prone to a weakness for luxury and fashion, which she battles with. A fight she ultimately wins when her heart leads her to accept the hand of a good, honest man who is poor and not be able to give her any of the finery that she yearns for. Meg can also be influenced by others. Notably, she lets the Moffat sisters dress her up like a doll for a party which thrills her but then shames her. But no more so than any teenage girl. Although mentor to all her sisters, she has a particular bond with Amy. And Beth, the third March sister, shy and homely Beth, wants nothing more than to please her sisters and uncomplainably works hard to maintain the smooth running of the household. She loves animals, but her real passion is music, and she is an accomplished piano player. Yet patient, selfless Beth weeps in secret over not being able to pursue her musical ambition. She is justly rewarded by Mr. Lawrence, who gives her his deceased granddaughter's piano. Like Jo, who is unconventional, Beth is antisocial because of her timidity, but once she has made a friend, she is loyal and steadfast. And she is the one that passes in the book. Amy, the youngest of the March sisters, has been spoiled by her doting family, become relatively selfish and stubborn compared to her sisters. She's also vain, and this is characterized by her belief that her greatest weakness is her nose. If you remember, wasn't it her? Yeah, she loved Laurie's nose. Among her attributes are her sociable personality, which draws people to her, and her talent for drawing. Ultimately, like all the March sisters, it's her nature to be self-effacing. When Beth is very ill, she comes to realize she would give anything for her sister's health. And during her quarantine at Aunt March's, where she has the opportunity for silent meditation, she develops greater strength of character. Marmee, the mother of the March sisters. She is the guiding light. She has a charitable nature and works tirelessly to support her family, but is always ready to spare a thought for those worse off than herself. Considerate, passionate, and honest, she confesses to Jo that she too has a temper which she constantly has to control. Marmee leads her daughters on the correct moral path with a sense of humor and no hint of sanctimony. Having known better times, Marmee understands that love is more important than money. Mr. March, the girl's father, is predominantly absent from the novel because he is away serving the Union Northern Army in the Civil War. His gentle philosophical character is evident in the unwavering love and respect emanating from his family. When he returns home because of illness, the idyllic family picture is complete. Now, Hannah, and only has one little sentence about her. The March's servant, Hannah, has watched all the children grow up and is part of the family as well as a loyal, hardworking employee. I love to hear when she talks. Aunt March, spinster and aunt to the March girls. Aunt March is on the surface a disagreeable old lady, yet, as Joe, who is paid to be her companion, learns, under the surface she has a softer side and quite an interesting character. Although critical of her brother's family, she clearly adores them all. And she ends up giving, when she dies, her house goes to Joe. Laurie, also called Teddy Lawrence, grandson to the March's rich neighbor. Laurie forms a fast friendship with Joe, then becomes close to all the sisters and like a son to Marmee. He is charming, impetuous, and hot-headed, and like Joe, struggles against society's expectations of him. He does not want to become a successful businessman, but has a strong desire to explore the world. This angers his grandfather, but the old man cannot help but love his endearing grandson. Mr. Lawrence, a rich old neighbor of the Marches on the surface, Mr. Lawrence appears unapproachable and stern, but they soon learn that he is kind and warm-hearted. Shy Beth especially develops an attachment to the old man. Mr. Brooke, tutor to Laurie, John Brooke, is a thoughtful, intelligent man. He accompanies Marmee to Washington when Mr. March is ill, shows his loyal patient nature. He also falls for Meg and patiently pursues her, promising to work hard and be a good husband. He is poor but virtuous, and Meg can't help but return his affection and marries him. Professor Baer, German professor whom Joe befriends at Mrs. Kirk's boarding house in New York City. Friedrich Baer is charming, good-hearted, and somewhat eccentric. He and Joe shyly proclaim their love for each other, marry, and open a school for boys. And they also had some children of their own. I also read you about the Hummels. I didn't say they are the beneficiaries of much charity from the March family, including receiving, they gave away their Christmas dinner at the beginning to them. And I read a little about the Moffats, the rich family that befriends Meg. Annie Moffat has all the dresses and trinkets that Meg covets, and her pompous brother Ned takes a fancy to the eldest March sister, yet despises being transiently flattered by the attention the Moffats show her. Meg doesn't bask in it for long, and it is plain that Alcott uses them as an antidote to Meg's desires. She soon learns that money does not bring the kind of happiness or rewards that are abundant in familial love. And again, the Vaughns, British friends of Laurie's, we meet in the Vaughn family. In Little Women, the characters reappear in Alcott's sequels, so they might be in Little Men that we read next. The family consists of haughty Kate, the twins Fred and sickly Frank, whom Beth mothers, and Grace, who strikes up a friendship with Amy. And then there's stuff like for book clubs, like Who's Your Favorite March Sister and Why? How does Joe compare to some modern-day literary heroines, such as Hermione Granger from Harry Potter? If you were casting a film of Little Women, which actress would you choose for the roles of the March sisters, and why? And here are some quotes. And they ask, can you work out who said them? I'll try and be what he loves to call me, a little woman, and not be rough and wild, but do my duty here instead of wanting to be somewhere else. Can you remember who said that? If you said Joe in Pilgrim's, I think in Pilgrim's Progress, I'm cheating. Okay, my dear, don't let the sun go down upon your anger. Forgive each other, help each other, and begin again tomorrow. That sounds like Army. Yep, Mrs. March. Yep. Oh, that was the chapter Pilgrim's Progress when Joe said that. I don't think it's fair for some girls to have plenty of pretty things and other girls nothing at all. That sounds like Meg. Nope, it's Amy. We've got father and mother and each other. Who said that? Beth, maybe? Yep, that was Beth. You wicked, wicked girl. I never can write it again, and I'll never forgive you as long as I live. Joe said that when Amy tore up her manuscript. And the last one, I'll let my castle go and stay with the dear old gentleman while he needs me, for I am all he has. You know that's Laurie. Okay, taking this beautiful book back. Can you believe we read all that? What? Even that stuff in the after, kind of like an afterword, but more like for book clubs and stuff. But anyway, I thought you might find it interesting. I did. So I guess I'll just call this Notes from Little Women or something. Okay. Mwah. Love to you all. Be sweet, don't be ugly. This is something my daughter made long ago before people were really making scooties. It's a very long, skinny scarf. So you can wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap some more. Very warm. And I do not know what yarn she used. It's got some wool in it. I think I might know. I'll show it to you sometime because I bought Michael's out when it went on clearance. I can't remember it enough to tell you what it is now. But anyway, see ya. I hope at Live at 5, where I'm almost afraid to have a live chat because of all the rules. I'm going to try to catch some live chats and see what I can dig up before we go on. I had just said, I've waffled back and forth between, okay, don't do this because so-and-so said not to. And everybody's like, but where'd they get the word? And so Madonna goes through pages and pages of stuff. Can't find anything. I watch videos because I can't read pages and pages, obviously, before the first page. And so I come back on and say, just whatever. And then people are worried about me getting in trouble and stuff. And then I see about the emoji. Digo sent me the stuff about the emojis. Who knows what I'll come on with today live. I'm ready just to say. But I love talking to y'all. Anyway, love you.